All right, cool. So, hello world. It is the second to last day of 2021. It's been a fun, interesting, challenging year full of ups and downs and joy and happiness. And I'm with Matt, and you're on mute, so you might want to unmute you after I introduce you. I want to introduce everybody to one of our awesome golf students, Matt Miller from Venice, Florida. Matt came to us about 7 months ago, Monday, May 10th. I don't know. I'm good with numbers and dates. So Matt joined us. Matt joined us Monday, May 10th of 2021. And just looking at his application, you know, he had shot like a 74 and then a 92 and an 85 and an 80, and he was stuck just not where he wanted to be in his golf game and his fitness and his mindset and a whole bunch of other things that are included in our program. He's been into a day Pell schools, and spends all this money playing golf, and he just couldn't shoot par or even break par. And we're going to talk about, his kick-ass accomplishments in the last 5 months of shooting in the 60s. So Matt Miller, welcome to Low 70s Golf, Peak Performance Scoring Mastery, and let's say hello.
Hello, everyone. I don't know who's online, but welcome to the finest golf instructor in the world on the Tonight Show.
That's awesome. So Matt, just introduce yourself, name, your business, and the line of work you're in, and start there.
Yeah, I'm from Pittsburgh. I'm 59. Been playing golf since I was 30. As Dean said, you name the instructor, I've had lessons from him. Not David Ledbetter directly, but the IMG Sports Academy. Rick Smith, he used to coach Phil. I've been to McLean School. I mean, there's nothing I haven't been to. And I've even learned a natural golf swing. So I know I've been taught it in my life about 4 different types of golf swings. And I don't know if you guys are aware that Dean has a propensity or a love or passion to teach the Homer Kelly golf machine golf swing. Probably a swing very close and comparable to Ben Hogan, but it is a swing that I read the golf machine 30 years ago, and I couldn't understand it because it's written in physics terms, but somehow Dean deciphered it. I don't know how he did it. P1, P2, all the different positions, but he converted me from, I'm actually a golf instructor myself too, with the Plain Truth Golf Academy run by Jim Hardy. He teaches something called a 1-plane and a 2-plane swing that really I would call them a left-handed swing and a right-handed swing just for ease. But he teaches a swing that's kind of like a Ferris wheel and kind of a swing that's like a merry-go-round. And I was using a flat one-handed right-handed swing, kind of like a Ferris wheel or merry-go-round. But I didn't want to change. When I came to Dean, we kind of argued about that kind of stuff. I wanted to nail in on my short game, but he's a pretty persistent guy and passionate because he believes in what he's doing. And he converted me. I am now a full 4-power accumulator guy, with the 4 pressure points. If you guys know anything about that, it's a swing that has a lot of accuracy and control, teaches you a tremendous amount of knowledge about hands and making, having a square face at impact. It's a little bit of a draw swing, a right to left swing, or, if you're unless you're left-handed. But it's also a swing that has an amazing ability to create what I call the slingshot or catapult effect. By the way you take the club and get it into a position where you've got tremendous lag, and the speed of your club is most explosive in the impact zone, as opposed to giving away speed before you get to the impact zone. So you're hitting the ball square. You're hitting it at when the club head's at its highest velocity. And honestly, a lot of people are intimidated that God, reworking your swing might take a long time, but it's really his fundamental approach is to build it one step at a time. And it really, I guess with my golf experience, didn't take, by the end of 2 months, as Dean said, I was shooting all over the place. I was a 9 handicap when I met Dean. I'm a 2 now, but I have shot twice in the 60s, 268s, and a number of low scores. And I think my handicap would be lower. I play at Venice Golf and Country Club, and the rating, I think the course is underrated because my handicap is better when I play other courses. I've played at Dean's course, Innisbrook, played several other courses, but, in higher rated courses, I really almost shoot at scratch. We've got a lot of penalty areas that add strokes at Venice. So I don't think it's truly rated, but, let's just say I'm between a 0 and a 2. Scratch and a 2.
That's pretty good success in the 5-month period of time. Yeah. So, there's 8 things that we train in our Navy SEALs golf training program. It's 90 days, 12 weeks. We cover fitness, number 1. That's the physical component, but the 5 skill sets are putting, finesse wedges, pitching and chipping, bunker, distance wedges, full swing, which is ball striking, core strategy, and mindset and confidence. So my question is, why did you join the program after our first conversation?
Well, I struggled at first because I didn't want to rebuild my swing, but I got over that. I think what you did to capture my attention in those 8 areas, and when you interviewed me, you asked me what my process was in putting, chipping, whatever. And, I had in my head sort of what I would call a pre-shot routine, but I realized I couldn't answer the question, what is my putting process? So he has 3 key elements that he teaches in putting: impact, speed, and reading greens, starting the ball down the right direction. But his process for reading greens is something I learned a lot about. I mean, a lot of people just circle around the green and try to figure out the way it's going. But in my first month in his school, I went from about 34 putts around to 31. And I've even been in the, as low as 29 putts around average. So he took, with the putting and just the short game itself, I cut 4 strokes off my game almost immediately. Because he starts, and I think it's the right way to do it. He doesn't start from the tee and go to the green. He starts from the green and moves back to the tee. So, and I think that way of doing it teaches you course management too, because, if I'm going from the green to the fairway, I'm teaching myself where I want that ball to be in the fairway to approach the green. And so, each process he has in each one of those 8 categories, I guarantee you, guys on the PGA Tour would learn a lot. I've been around a lot of guys on the PGA Tour, and they're set, they're stuck in their ways. And Bubba Watson, for instance, built his own swing, but a lot of these guys don't even have the depth of knowledge that Dean has on turning things into a process. But I think what really compelled me when I got into it was not just, okay, we got 4 games off 4 strokes off my short game. Then we got into the long game. I got a couple more strokes off it. But Dean is fabulous in terms of teaching you how to shape and condition your mind to be a competitive golfer. Whether it's through, his loving ways of handling people, or insights on different types of meditation, insights on mental preparation, insights on, how to approach a green, based on the pin position. I mean, the mental aspect is, he's eliminated the 2 things in life that kill you in anything. I'm a day trader, and these 2 things kill you in day trading, they kill you in golf, and that's fear and greed. If you get rid of those 2 elements, fear and greed, and you are able to completely immerse yourself in the shot at hand. The only shot that's important in golf is the shot you're hitting, not the previous shot, not the next shot. And he'll teach you that mindset, to focus on that. Just put 100% of your energy in, and you can't have any doubt. For instance, in putting, if you don't read a green properly, or, one of your buddies says, I don't think that's the line, I think you should hit this line. Well, immediately you're not putting 100% of your energy in that putt. You might be putting 60, 70, 80% of your mental energy in that putt, because you're not committed. So you've got to go through the process. And what's unique about the process is it takes you to the point where I'm standing over the putt. I'm putting 100% of my energy into that putt without the distractions of what's going on around me. So, when I like to use the example, there's different emotions we might feel on the golf course. Let's say one of them is anxiety. Well, anxiety is just a chemical reaction to hormones that from the way we think. And the minute we label that emotion anxiety, it tends to become a negative thing. Well, instead of calling it anxiety, why don't we just call it high performance fuel? Because once you call it high performance fuel and you hit a shot, now you're in a point, instead of hitting a shot out of a bunker and afraid of hitting the sand or not getting out, when you turn that energy into high performance fuel, it turns it into focus, and you get yourself to the point where you're completely committed to that shot. I don't think there's probably anything more important in shot making than having, if you're at 70%, the likelihood is you're not going to hit the shot that you want. But if you can visualize and put 100% of your energy into hitting that shot, then you're going to hit a better shot. Now, you'll notice in golf that even if I put 100% of my energy in to that shot, I might not hit the shot I wanted to. But if you keep putting your mental energy into it the same way, over time, your body, you'll develop what Dean calls motor patterns, and they develop on your own. They develop. I can't think of the word. They develop through block training before you get to the course, but then when you get to the course, you're doing more of an intuitive training, where if you just commit to that shot and see what you want in your head, and you compare the results of that shot to what you saw in your head, your body adapts without you even trying to make the adaptation.
Right. That's a subconscious training that we preach over and over and over.
Yeah.
So I know you had some doubts, and I'm going to preface this because I just had a student within the last month have some doubts, and he did the payment plan, and then within 2 weeks, on our second call, he's like, "Oh yeah, I want to just pay in full," because he started.
Don't you remember? That's what I did to you.
I know that's why I'm bringing it up, because he started to see quick results. So, what kind of doubts did you have in your mind before joining us, and then what made you decide to join anyway?
Well, the typical doubts are, I think you know this. I've not only seen these golf professionals, but I've been through 4 online golf academies. I've been through George Gankus. I've been through Performance Golf. I've been through Rotary Golf. I've been through a number of academies, and there's not one academy out there that made my golf game better.
So let's just stop there and we'll keep asking, but why did those not work for you versus why mine did work for you?
Because they don't teach the rounded 8 elements of a golf swing. They might teach you the golf swing, but they don't teach you how to. I mean, the bottom line, the goal in the game of golf is to get the ball in the hole. And, you know, the mechanics of your swing and the mechanics of your putting, you know, mechanics don't help you score. You know, it's rounding your foundation out and bringing your mental awareness to a much higher level. Meditation is almost a mandatory thing in golf because I think, you know, people have something in their mind called chatter. Well, chatter doesn't do you any good. What you need in your mind is focus. People have emotions, however they want to label them, you know, anxiety, fear, emotions, endorphins, whatever. But none of those things can really change. You know, if I say stop thinking, I'm going to start thinking harder. So the awareness training is where you actually sit back and you become the observer of your thoughts and your emotions. And through the act of becoming the observer of the thoughts and the emotions dissolve. And now you're completely focused on it. But most people don't really understand what the skill of awareness is. They've never been trained. And, you know, that's what meditation does. It's very, very important because you learn, you know, you might learn to become aware of your breathing. You might be learn to be aware of your heartbeat. You might be, you know, that's the initial phases of developing awareness. But, you know, at the peak point of awareness, if you really want to get into the zone, when you're hitting a shot, you're almost an outside observer watching yourself hit the shot. That's how much of an observer you are. Instead of, you know, being inside yourself, you're an observer of yourself hitting the shot. And when you can get to that level of awareness, you hit much better shots. Well, I can tell you, there's not one group out there that is going to teach you anything about awareness. I don't care who they are. They're just going to teach you the mechanics of the golf swing.
Gotcha. So since you know what's under the hood inside this 12-week program, 6 months of coaching, since you're aware what's under the hood, and you didn't know prior to taking that leap of faith, what made you decide to join anyway?
I took a risk because, you know, in life, you know, you're going to go through a lot of failures before you find success. And I'm highly aware of that. And I was willing, I just had to be willing to give something else a try until I found the formula that worked for me. So it was curiosity.
And the goal, you had a goal of shooting 68.
Well, I had a goal, and I still have the goal of playing on the Champions Tour. But, you know, I got to get to at least a +5 handicap to do that. But yes, I did have a goal of shooting 68. We talked about that. I think he challenged me to get to 67, but I did shoot 68 twice.
Well, I'm gonna challenge you over the next 6 months to get to a +5.
Well, that's the direction I'm heading. You know, golf is a game of giant leaps, and I'm in the process of making a giant leap. Dean gave me a video lesson not too long ago on how to develop the proper motor patterns in your golf swing that has increased my ball striking dramatically. To, you know, I was hitting, you know, fewer than 50% of my fairways and greens, and now I'm starting to hit, you know, in the high 50s and 60% of my fairways and greens with much more reliability. Just from that cone drill you gave me.
That's awesome. So as far as short-term drills, short-term results, within the first 30 days, we cover the flexibility, stability, mobility, but we laser focus for 10 days on putting. We laser focus for 10 days on pitching and chipping. We laser focus for 10 days on bunkers. So in the first 30 days, what do you think your short-term success looked like?
Well, as I said, in the first month, I took 4 strokes off my handicap, because it's not that he's just teaching you technique in chipping. He's going to give you the drills you need to do to hone the skill, and the drills are phenomenal. Whether they're putting drills. I mean, a simple drill I never even seen in my life is a drill that helps you teach you start a putt down a straight line. I don't know if I can spill the beans for you, but you have to hit it down a 3/4 inch metal ruler. And if you can't hit the putt straight down the 3/4 inch ruler, everyone should be challenged to go home and try to do that. Get a metal ruler or a yardstick and try to hit it down that line. You'll find out how off your putter head is at impact real quick.
Yeah, the yardstick drill. We require students to get to 10 within the first 10 days and 15 by 2 weeks. And that's our measurement. So then as far as workability of the program, why does the program work so well for Matt Miller?
I think for me, because I'm a structured guy, and I like structure, and I kind of, I like the instruction to be, I use the word idiot proof. And what I mean by that is you don't have to outthink Dean. You don't have to challenge him. I mean, I did, but you don't have to. I mean, honestly, it's idiot proof in the sense that you just do what he tells you. It's like going to the weight room. You can design a program where you get there, or you can have a personal trainer guiding you through the process, and that makes that training more. I like the word idiot proof. You don't have to you don't have to redesign it or create your own program. You just have to do what he says.
You don't have to figure it on your own. So basically, hey, do this, and then get back on my calendar and let's do a feedback and make sure you do it right.
That's right. And if you do what he says, you will get better. There is absolutely, positively no question. The only way you won't get better is if you don't do what he says. Practice what he says, and the results will come. It's like the old Kevin Costner movie, build it and they will come. Well, do what he says and the strokes will come off.
Right. So in the first month, we focus on, short game. And then the next 2 months, we focus on ball striking, distance wedges, core strategy, ball striking. And I keep saying that over and over, because to me, that's the most important piece, not only for me, but even for people watching this and yourself, is if you can't hit it off the tee box, if you can't hit the greens, or you're losing distance, that's the root cause of all your frustration. And you might have a great short game, but it's never going to get you to shoot below par or break 80 if that's where your challenge is. So talk about your experience about the training with this full swing, considering you've been to all those different academies and had this set. I don't want to change.
One thing I've never learned, I've heard of it, but I haven't learned in detail, is how to train your hands. Your hands can move that way. Your hands can move that way, and your hands can roll over. Okay. And you have to learn to move those hands in conjunction with the body. I always thought that, a golf swing, if you're swinging it properly, the hands would just get into the right position, and they don't. Dean's swing, when he started with me, at impact, my club head was ahead of my hands. And if you want to hit a solid, crisp golf shot, you got to have some dynamic loft where the club is behind the hands. And the training he does with the hands and the upper body get your hands in the right position. Now those are fine motor muscle skills, but he also helps you develop the larger motor muscle skills and teach you the way. I mean, the first thing he does is teaches you the way the body moves. I'm getting ahead of myself with the hands, but if your body's not moving the right way, no matter what you do with your hands, you have the potential to be out of place. So he's going to get your body moving exactly the way it moves. So then when you get into the impact zone, you're going to have dynamic loft. You're going to hit a lower, crisper shot that bores and still stops on the green. I don't think I've seen a tour pro in my life whose hands were not ahead of the ball at impact, but most amateurs, the head of the club is past the hands at impact. So
what you're saying is, for people that have had knowledge and information like yourself, or someone that's coming in that's never had any instruction whatsoever, sounds like the best full swing series part 1 through 4 is from ankles, from feet to head, shows you and trains you specifically how to build a full swing. And then we go a little bit deeper and fuller and break them down separately between zone 1, which is the pivot, zone 2, which is the arms and the chest, and zone 3 is the hands. And then we get more deeply into educating the hands with all those trainings and coaching and feedback. Is that what I'm hearing?
You're hearing that right. And, obviously golf has a rotational element. The rotation is taught, but and the Homer Kelly swing, what's amazing about it, relies it relies on rotation, but it relies on the developing skill in 4 different levers, whether it be your left shoulder, your left wrist, your right hand, or the turnover of your right forearm. What really accelerates the club through impact, as much as rotation, is proper use of those 4 levers. And you'll learn, so you'll learn the hands, like you said, you'll learn the body first, you'll learn the levers, and then the levers are attached to your hands, and your hands, have, like I said, I don't know if people have heard of radial or ulnar deviation, or, Dean calls it cup flexing and extending, or, the turnover of the forearms, but they all start tying together. The body to the levers to the hands.
So you're now a 2 handicap. You dropped at least 10 strokes. You've shot in the 60s twice in 5 months and 7 months. You've been in the program 7 months, and you have access to me in the training for the rest of your life. Other than golf, how has your life changed since joining? What are some of the blessings?
I'm an extremely intense person, and I think it's like the stock market. I'm like this. Now I'm more of a flatliner. So that's been a benefit to life, relationships with my girlfriend. I'm a better active listener, and I talk and listen and interact better with people. So, life is a game that I think the best golfers in the world, you'll notice that they have a high level of integrity. And that's because golf is a self-policing game. And you have to have, I call it the 4 corners. You have to be in charge of your mind, body, spirit, and emotions. And so, I am much more through awareness training. My mind, body, spirit, and emotions. I don't have the emotional ups and downs. I don't have as much chatter going on in my brain, even in life outside of golf. My body is in great shape. And, my spirit, I think people pass on the spirit, and spirit has nothing to do with religion, but spirit is the ability to visualize and look forward to what you want to have happen in your life and truly believe it. Because if you don't believe it can happen, it won't. So, the power of imagery and using your spiritual energy to pour if you think about your goals, you're not going to achieve them. You've got to combine your heart and your mind into one cohesive unit. Most people don't know that your heart has neurons, and it actually is conscious as well. But I don't think many people know that to make things happen in your life, to change the direction of your life, you can't just use your mind, you can't just use your heart. You've got to combine the 2 of them into one, and maybe even tied together with a little bit of intuition. So let's call intuition what goes on in your gut, what goes on in your heart, what goes on in your mind. If those 3 are, I forget the word, but when they're connected, towards the goal, the thing that you want to have happen in your life will happen. And if you're just going willy-nilly with your mind and you're not putting any heart and passion into it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you get that. You develop that coherence.
Coherence. I think coherence.
Yeah, coherency, right. So I see a lot of times when people apply, they believe that mindset is their biggest problem. And my belief is if they went through the putting, the finesse wedge, the bunker, the disc wedge, and the full swing training, their mindset would shift because of the skill set that they've developed. Would you agree with that?
Well, without a doubt, my mindset has gone through a mindful of chatter to a mindful of focus. So, I don't know how to always translate the word mindset, but that's the best way I can describe it. If your mind is full of chatter, that chatter, those are just wavering thoughts, and most of your thoughts are delusional anyways. They're not representative of the truth. But mindset, developing that strong mindset is when your thoughts go to chatter to focus. And when you're in the state of focus, you can only focus on the truth. So
that would kind of come from confidence versus doubt, that chatter, the doubt of chatter versus the confidence.
Absolutely. Does confidence come first or the skill, or does the skill come first and then the confidence? I think it's a combination, but I think you have to have the skill mastered to even have a chance of developing confidence.
Yeah.
You can't master this skill without a trained eye on you. I can tell you, you can spend 10 years trying to become a good golfer and not get any better, or you can spend 3 months with Dean, who is an expert and has an incredible eye. If you have an eye on your training process, you can accelerate your training, or basically you might not even have a chance. I see so many guys hitting balls on the range. I see them on the range at my country club for 4 and 5 hours, and all they're doing is ingraining bad habits. Hitting 500 balls a day is not going to make you a better golfer. I don't care who you think you are, unless what makes you a better golfer is practicing with purpose, not just hitting balls. So that's part of the mindset too, is you've got to get better. You've got to, where you're at, you've got to position your mind about 10% ahead of where you really are to challenge yourself to develop that new skill. But then with the skill comes confidence. And then when confidence comes, it really opens up your ability to enhance that skill.
So if someone were on the fence about joining, what would you tell them?
I'd say quit thinking about it and just sign the dotted line. If you thinking about it is chatter. Okay, that's all it is. You're thinking about it. It's not getting you anywhere. It's not getting you forward. It's not getting you backwards. I would say if your goal is to, I started as a 9 handicap. So, but there are students that take 10 plus strokes off their game. And if that's your goal, you don't have any other thought or decision to make. Just do it. Don't get lost in the chatter. I can just give you a testimony that Dean has made the greatest impact on my golf game of any human being in my life. And I've taken lessons from, at Oakmont in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where they played 7 majors. And I took, from Bob Ford, and I took from Rick Martina, who became head of the Trump International Golf Instruction Program. I'm telling you, I've never met anybody like Dean.
So let's talk about cost versus investment, because I hear this all the time. What's the cost of my program? Listen, the cost of my program in 2022 is going up to $15,000. And I asked, did you have some doubts? And we actually got you started with the payment plan of $5,000 times 2 payments, $10,000. And then how long was it before you said, oh, hey, listen, I just want to pay in full, get the discount for 9K? How quick was that?
I think the first 3 days.
Okay, so you joined on a Monday, and then you sent me a text or said, hey, listen, on Thursday, I want to save the extra $1,000. I want to just pay in full the 9K. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, and you allowed me to do that, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
So look, I always want to talk about money because there's an abundance of it. And people's belief is they don't have enough money or they don't want to spend that kind of money. But how much have you spent on golf clubs in the last decade? How much have you spent on greens fees in the last decade? How much could you spend to go see Mike Bender, who's my coach, who's an amazing coach, $400 an hour? You could go see him for 20 lessons and still not be able to drop 10 strokes in 90 days.
Well, I think, money is just the means of exchange. What you're really dealing with is time and opportunity cost. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity cost to try and go out and become a better golfer on your own without a trained mind. And, the opportunity cost was, well, I mean, if you said to yourself, I know I can go from a 15 to a 5 in 3 months, you wouldn't even think about paying the $15,000. It'd be worth it. So the question is not whether it's worth it or not. The question is, does he deliver on the goods? Because $15,000 is nothing if you're a golfer that wants to take 10 strokes off your game. I'd rather pay $15,000 and take 10 strokes off my game than pay $1,000 for nothing. I mean, and get no strokes off my game. Take 2 lessons from some big shot and, $500 an hour and go nowhere. Or take a series of lessons and all the opportunity costs of taking that series of lessons and introducing yourself to more confusion every time you take another lesson from another pro. I mean, the opportunity cost is just phenomenal. I mean, it'll take you 10 years on your own to figure out what Dean can teach you in 3 months.
Yeah, I remember a couple of decades ago, people used to say, man, I wish I could buy a game. What was can you actually buy a game with our Navy SEALs golf training program in 3 months?
Yes.
Awesome. So then we'll just wrap up here. What's the community in the family like here as a student and on our calls and the group and what's that like?
Well, I think the Facebook community is very interactive and you could swap stories. But now Dean I think it was a genius idea. He's going live once, even twice a week with the whole group. So, you get to interact in those Zoom meetings with your peers and find out, oh my God, these guys are struggling with the same things I'm struggling with. But that I think that was a genius move of Dean to add, when I started the program he wasn't doing that, but I've been through 3 months and Dean still allows me to come to his group sessions twice a week on, I think it's Wednesday and Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And the learning is powered. I mean, I can tell you that when you watch Dean instruct, your body starts absorbing it. There's an amazing way that the mind can work. You can learn to shoot basketballs without actually shooting basketballs. But you can learn to play golf by, Dean just does it over and over and over again, and you absorb it. But he's always, ingenious, and he can tailor, if you have physical limitations, if there's other obstacles in your life, he can tailor a training plan around that. But I think, I've learned a hell of a lot through the group Zoom meetings, where you get to interact with your peers.
And how fun was, how much success have you seen outside of golf between just you and I having our weekly one-on-one to up-level other areas of life, meditation, health, fitness, and so forth?
Well, I'm a happier person. I think, frustration in life is the difference between reality and expectations. Well, if your expectations are up here and your reality is down here, you're going to be frustrated. But if you bring your reality up to meet your expectations, that's where you find peace, because there's not a difference between the two. So, I mean, sometimes we have to take our expectations down a little bit to, to meet our reality. But really, the best way to get rid of frustration is to lift your reality up to meet your expectations.
Matt, I really appreciate you being here. So for anybody that's watching this or listening to this, there is a way that you can actually buy yourself a golf game permanently. And it's with our 12-week Navy SEALs golf training program. So here's how it's structured. First, we're going to do a Zoom call, and we're going to do a fitness evaluation, and we're going to do a 16-point head to toe, find out any limitations you have in your body. And then we're going to customize something specifically to get you more stability, more mobility, but most importantly, at Matt's age, 59, more flexibility. And you're going to do multi-channel training over 12 weeks. You're going to train the body piece. And then, as Matt will attest, you're going to get access today where you're going to laser focus on the three things that we teach in putting: how to read a green, how to hit your line that you've read, and how to control your speed. And you're going to drill it, you're going to drill it, you're going to train it, and then you get it back on a Zoom call like Matt and I are now. And we're going to give you some coaching and feedback. And we'll do the same thing for finesse wedges, pitching and chipping 30 yards in and around the green. You're going to learn, the difference between the club head pass in your hands and the hand staying in front between pitching and chipping. And you're going to drill it, and you're going to drill it, and you're going to get feedback. And then you're going to go into the bunker. And then in the first 30 days, it's likely, depending on where you're at, you can drop 4 strokes like Matt did, or we got students that drop 10 strokes in the first month, depending on where they're at. But then they start sleeping like a baby, and they start feeling better because of the fitness piece. Then we're going to, within the second week, you're going to be doing some drills that Matt was talking about to develop a full swing in a mirror from head to toe to where your body is going to move what your body is capable of doing. You're going to learn how to develop a full swing, and you'll drill it for a week, and you'll be back on my calendar. We'll review it and make sure you're doing it right. And then you go to part 2 for a week, and you make sure you're doing it right. And then by the 30 days, not only have you dropped those strokes, but now you develop a new motor pattern in your brain for the full swing. And then that way, when we get into month 2 and 3, where we can focus on distance wedges and full swing and ball striking and core strategy and mindset and belief, that way, after the 90 days, depending on where you're at, it's likely you can drop 10, 15. We've had people drop, 25 strokes in the first 3 months. And then after the first 3 months, you're going to do an after action report, just like Matt did. He rated himself on his putting and his finesse wedges. He rated himself on bunker and distance wedges. He rated himself on full swing and core strategy and mindset. And then we put together a plan for him to keep attacking, and he knows exactly how to attack it. The training, he has access to the training for the rest of his life. He has access to text me, message me, get on my calendar, have fun chats like this. We even did a group coaching today, and we spoke to the students in there, and they're going to put together an after action report of what they think they're at. And then they're on my calendar next week, and we're going to do one-on-ones to set up what's going to happen in 2022, where we're going to be mission driven to hit their goals and hit your objectives. So for anybody that loves the game like Matt does, loves the game like all of our students do, loves the game like I do, and wants to play it at the level that they want to play it at based on their desires, just book a call, schedule a call, fill out our application, send the video, and we'll have a conversation just like I interviewed Matt, what his goals were. And you can have those doubts, but you can also have the belief that you could buy a game, and this is the only place it can happen. Matt, anything you'd like to add before I wish you a happy new year?
No, just heartfelt gratitude, my friend. Dean's not only, I live close to Dean. I'm about an hour and a half away, so I've also had the pleasure of playing with him. And he's the real deal as a player, too. So, I mean, there's nothing in the world worse than taking a golf instruction from a guy that you can beat. And that's the way a lot of golf instructors, I could beat all the pros at my club, but I can't beat Dean. So
we'll get on my calendar next week, and let's put together another plan to get you to a +5 sooner than later.
Awesome.
All right. I appreciate you being here. Anybody else that wants to buy themselves a golf game, apply. It starts there. We're going to interview. We're going to make sure that you have the traits that we look for. This is a commitment both on my team and myself's part, and it's a commitment on your part. And we want to make sure that we mesh together. And Matt will tell you that, we didn't get along on every coaching call because I challenged him. And sometimes, that goes both ways. We're both intense people, but we all had the same goal, and that's shooting 68, 67. So Matt, I wish you a happy a new year. And let's get you to a +5 in 2022. Everyone else listening, just feel free to book a call and let's take a look at your swing and put together a plan and what it's going to take for you to hit your goal and break 80 or break 70 and shoot a 66, 68 as well.
Sounds good, Dean. Thank you.
Matt, I'll see you soon, man. Thanks so much.
All right. Sure.